Hey there, Mystic Crafters. This is Kristen, and this month's Mystic Craft is a self-love flipbook oracle. So if you've been making crafts with me for a little while, you've probably already made some sort of flipbook oracle or some sort of flipbook, but this one is going to be a little bit different. This one, the focus is self-love. It's meant to be a book of that really is an oracle, and it's something that changes too. I really love when you have something that is going to change as you change. So that to me is really what divination is about, that the oracle changes with different questions or with different intentions. And that's really how I set this one up. So let me just open it up so you can get a look at it. So when we open it up, you'll see that there are two different sections. So there's a set of top cards, and this is just cardstock, and then a set of bottom cards as well. Now I'm just going to flip these, just going to take the first two and turn it over, and what you'll notice is that the top section are prompts or questions, and then the bottom is the response. And I created these just based on things that are really going to affirm yourself, and so you can use them like affirmations. You can think of these as pep talks for your soul. And so they're designed so that you can mix and match them. You can mix these up and mix these up. You can go to something at random and you'll still get whatever the message is that you need. So one of the ways that I use this is, whether it's daily or it's just when I kind of need a special message, I will just pull two sections just at random. I'm just putting my hands into, just a random space, and then I turn the page. What should I do in times of self-doubt? Stick to my boundaries. So that's my message. And you can ask a question or set an intention and then do this at random. But I find that it really does set the tone for the day if you just do this at random. And again, I'm just going to do another shift, and I'm just shifting again, just putting my hand in here and just flipping over. What can I do to feel peace within? Stop blaming others. Okay, I'm just doing another flip. What's the first step in creating the life I want? Spend time with kind people. So I hope that you really get a lot out of these messages. They're kind of simple, but to me they're pretty profound, and they might be a little hard-hitting too. And just flip. How can I raise my vibration? Own who I am without apology. And so that, for me, is a wonderful way of just connecting with my higher self, connecting just in terms of self-love and getting a message. Now, one of the things that I do like to do is take out the whole stack once a month and just rearrange them. So just kind of mix them up and put them in a different order, and do that same thing with this stack. And then what I really like to do is go through the entire book once I've done that and read it really as like a message from spirit. And I also read it aloud. You'll notice that these are all in first person. Okay, I'm struggling too. My actions, what can I do? So everything is done in first person because I really intended for you to read these out loud. These are all about you. So they're not about somebody else. So when you use first person and you read them out loud, I feel like it's going to make a stronger impact. And so once I've reshuffled all of these and I start from the beginning, and instead of picking them at random, I just go through them page by page. So there's an equal number of the top and the bottom, and just read it out loud. And it's really interesting, the full message. You know, a lot of things are kind of reinforced with the message, and then you'll be surprised to see how much those messages play out through the month. And again, just go all the way till you get to the end, the last message. And in this case, it's what will help me relax, celebrate each win. And then once you've done that like once a month, then you can go back and just do your random flips for the day. So that is the Self-Love Flipbook Oracle. You can find all of this in the classroom to download. And let me just show you how to put this together. You will see that I'm using my Happy Planner discs because I have a Happy Planner punch, and I really love the disc. I think it works really well with the disc. But if you don't have disc or the Happy Planner system or anything to put it together like this, you could still use book rings. So I'm going to show you how to do that. In the classroom, you're going to find the pages. You're going to find all of this, plus you're going to get the cover page as well. Let me just show you how the main pages will look. And you can print them on colored paper, or you can just print them on just regular white paper. Okay, this is another set that I made. But when you get them and print them out, let's just say you print it out on this pretty blue paper, the page is going to look like this. You're actually going to have 4 of these on a page. The ones at the top are for the top part of the book, and the ones that print out on the bottom are for the bottom part of the book. My suggestion to you is once it prints like this, you cut it down the middle first. So do a cut that's going to separate them into 2 pieces. Then you're going to take those 2 pieces, and I would use those 2 pieces and figure out whether you want to do the binding with the Happy Planner rings or whether you want to do the binding with the book rings. If you decide to do the Happy Planner, I actually have a punch, so it makes it really easy. Basically, all you want to do is line it up in your punch, and I really just eyeball it. Just make sure there's an even amount of room on either end, and the punch will do the rest. So you're just gonna line it in there and then punch it. And then once you've punched all of the pieces, then you can go back and cut across this line to separate the 2 halves. You will notice when you print these out, there is a little bit, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, one piece is going to be slightly longer than the other. That's not going to ruin your book. Everything will be just fine. So just go ahead and, like I said, cut down the middle, and then go in and use your punch and just punch all of the sides. Okay, and then you'll be able to just put them in after you cut across, and they will line up just like this. Okay, so that to me is really simple, and I love the way that it comes out. The cover, what you'll find in the classroom is that you'll have you'll see the cover. The cover is slightly larger. Okay, the cover is a slightly larger piece of paper so that it will cover, easily all of your cardstock pieces. So in doing the cover, once you've printed it out, you're just going to do your hole punch in the same manner. And what I do, because I didn't do anything for the back for you, what I suggest that you do is find a piece of cardstock that you like, and you're just going to cut it out the same size as your cover and use that for your back. So you want to make sure that you have a front and a back. You might also notice that I have laminated mine, and that just gives the book a little bit of sturdiness. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You just want to cut it out the same size as the cover and use that for the back of the book. Now, let me show you what you could do if you want to use book rings. And I didn't do an entire set with book rings, but I just wanted to do this just to see how it would work with 4 book rings. And so I don't have all of the pages in here. It would be a little bit thicker, of course, with all of the pages in here. But I think that 4 book rings would work really well. So you'd have 2 book rings for the top part and 2 book rings for the bottom. And what I'm going to do is give you some measurements. Of course, you don't have to use my measurements, but they may be helpful. So the same rule is going to apply when you get your page. Oops. It's going to look like this. When you get your page, do the same thing. Cut it in half first so that you have the 2 halves. And what you're going to do is you're going to figure out where to hole punch here and here. Now my suggestion is to just take one of those pieces and you're just going to line up your ruler, and I just made a mark at 1 1/4 and then 3 inches. 1 1/4 inches and 3 inches. And then just move the ruler down and do the same thing on this end. 1 1/4 and 3 inches. So you can see where I have made the little notations. And then I moved this in about 1 centimeter. So my hole punch is about 1 centimeter from the edge. Now that's going to give you a sense of where to hole punch. You can see my hole punches are a little bit off of those marks, but it's not really a big deal because once you have one that is hole punched, you're just going to use that one to do the rest of them. So I want to hole punch this. I'm just going to stack it against it. And you can just draw. I just draw the holes right in. I had to go and get my hole punch. And so once you've drawn the holes in, then you know exactly where to hole punch. And you just line it up. And just punch the holes. And then once you've punched the holes, then you can go back in on this line and cut that line, and then you'll have your 2 halves, your 2 parts, your top part and your bottom part. And then just keep doing that through the rest of your pages. And then all you have to do is get you 4 book rings, and assemble it. And remember, you can just take this, take your example, let's just pull out the one that we use first, and you can just lay that directly on the cover page as well, and then you'll know exactly where to punch the holes for your cover and for the back of your book too. And then you can add your book rings, and then you'll have this flip book with book rings. And I think it's a really neat idea with just to use the book rings with it. Remember to do your back cover as well, and you will have your self-love flip book oracle. So I hope that gives you some ideas for using your self-love flip book oracle, and also some ideas for making it. I think the book rings work really well. Of course, I love using my Happy Planner rings, but there are other like disc systems, ring or disc systems. So whatever works best for you, whatever you're familiar with using, use that to bind your book. And I hope you enjoy using your self-love flip book oracle.